Willow Creek Springs presents Healthy Living with your host, Joe Grumbine.
Well, hello, and welcome back to the Healthy Living Podcast. I'm your host, Joe Grumbine, and today we have back with us a very special guest, Dr. Robert Hoffman. Robert, welcome
back. Hello, everybody. Glad to be here.
Fantastic. Well, it's great to be working with you, and this journey just keeps getting better all the time, right?
Yeah.
So we've had a lot of progress this last week, but I did want to, before we go getting too deep into it, I wanted to share with you my experience with the radio oncologist I met with yesterday.
Okay.
And it went pretty much as I expected. But, I prepared a good presentation, and, my goal is twofold. Obviously, I'm going to do what I want with my health, and I'm going to go forward the way I want. But I'm also trying to make the most good come of this as I can, including educating the doctors along the way and hoping to open some eyes, So, as you know, UCI Medical Center is a teaching hospital, so there's a lot of interns that are participating in the process. And so it was an intern that interviewed me initially, and he came in, and again, he was blown away about my progress. And I saw his eyes get big as he saw me, and he says, "Wow, you've really made a lot of progress." I says, "Yeah, I'd like to talk about that." And so, I have a pretty well prepared presentation about the things we've done. And I talked to him about, how well everything went. And I reminded him gently, of course, that, where I'm standing, I got a little bit of reticence to just accept what's handed to me because of my experience with, being misdiagnosed initially, and then being told by a surgeon that that's the way to go, and then being told by the radio oncologist that you don't want to get surgery, and then on and on and on we've gone. And I reminded him that, I was the one that presented the solution that we took to them, and I didn't do it in a, arrogant way, just a way that just let him know that I'm really active in this participation, that I'm really, that I'm doing a lot of research. I'm meeting with a lot of people. I told them about that new group I've joined that's got over 1,700 active squamous cell carcinoma patients. And that's a lot of people when you're looking at any kind of a study or any kind of a group of people, right?
Fantastic group.
Yeah. So and I told them
to share their experience. No medical school, no hospital in the world could match what you could learn from these people.
Exactly. So I'm slowly integrating myself into the conversations, and I'm starting to talk about my diet, and I'm starting to talk about my experience, and without just jumping in and, bombarding the place. And these are people from all around the world. And the one thing that we have in common is squamous cell carcinoma. And so I'm learning a lot from these people. But one of the biggest things I've learned is that most of these people have gone down the road that they wanted to send me on, which was a very aggressive radiation and chemo, 5 to 6 weeks, 5 days a week, not a small low dose.
Surgery too.
And surgery. Many of these people have had surgery, and I've seen the pictures, and we're talking about giant holes, and we're talking about, tongues missing. We're talking about, holes in the head and the side of the face, and just, horrible. Something I would not want to endure unless it was the only thing that could save my life. And, I shared with him my thoughts about that. And he says, I can appreciate your point of view. And I told him about my experience with Dr. Nabar and how I had offered a number of tests, and she wasn't interested in any of them. And he kind of agreed with her, said, "Well, the NAV-DX test really gives us everything we want to see." And I says, "All right, I can appreciate that." But I said, "I'll offer you this." I go, "I'm going to go about finding a source of these tests, and I'll pay for them myself. And when I get them, I'll share them with you. So you'll be able to see what I'm seeing, and maybe we can together come up with a better diagnosis. And he agreed. Oh, actually, the next thing he did is he walked me through the imaging of the CT scan. And that was kind of nice. I have a recording of it. I tried to send it to you, but it was too big of a file. I'm going to have to put it in my drive, and then I'll send it. But
Okay, no problem.
I recorded him walking me through what he saw, and he showed me the original CT from back in, I don't know, March or whenever it was, and you could see this mass and all the issues with it, and then it showed the new one, and it was almost nothing, but there's still a little shadow of something there. And I said, well, we can agree that I still got something here, but we don't know what it is. It could be dead. It could be still be dying. It could be, we don't know. And he agreed to that. So as I'm walking along through this process, I'm getting him to look through my eyes and see where I'm getting the information from, so it's legitimate. I'm not just making this stuff up. And he, all the way along, he's agreeing that yes, they don't know. There's no way for them to know. And I even mentioned Japan and the Met Pet, and I could tell it went right through his head.
He never heard of MetPet,
He never heard of it. Yeah, and it's
even
okay.
though he's a radiologist.
I planted the seed in his head, and I said, maybe he'll look it up. Who knows? And then I went and I said, in all the research I've done, I've determined that there are other therapies that are available, but they're not included in the standard of care, such as immunotherapy, chemotherapy combination. And I said, they'll only do that unless I was fully metastatic and it was in a worse stage, or they wouldn't do it. He said, yeah. And I said, and there's even a new therapy that they've approved for liver tumors, and it's an ultrasound therapy, and it's called shoot, hang on a second. I have the name of it here. It's called histotripsy. And basically what they're doing with that is they're hitting an ultrasound frequency targeted at the tumor mass, and basically it scrambles it, turns it into non-living tissue. And when you hit something with ultrasound at the right frequency, it gets warm, it gets really hot, and the combination of the heat and the sound waves just disrupt everything. And so with
And what does it do to the surrounding normal tissue?
nothing, they're able to target it in a way that is very effective. So
Okay.
FDA has approved it for certain types of liver tumors, and there's certain parameters. It's got to be so big and whatnot. But I told this guy, I said, listen, my hope is that between now and the time that maybe I need to talk to you again or not, that maybe science comes up with something new. We're not done. I says, I'm not going to go back to what I was. Like when I came to them before, I had this giant tumor sticking out of my neck, and it was aggressively growing. I says, we've gotten to a place where if I was to watch this thing carefully and get a scan every 3 months, we could keep our eye on it. And if I saw anything happening, I'd be ready to make a move. But I'll never be back to where I was when I first came in. And he agreed. And finally, I said, "Listen, Doc." The real doctor came in after a while, and we talked, and I said he was very respectful for the work I did. He says, "I see you've really taken an active role in this, and you."
The senior doc or the intern?
No, this is the senior doctor. He came back in and we started talking, and he came in and he said, "Look, I can see you've done your work. You're doing good research, you're getting good sources, and you're
And you're
on
getting
top."
fantastic results that they never saw before.
Exactly. Yeah, you can't deny that part. And I said, listen, doctor, I said, I appreciate everything you guys have done, and I understand where you're coming from. I understand your standard of care, and I understand why you want to do what you want to do. But can you just for a second try to put yourself in my shoes? And he thought for a second. I don't think anybody asked him that before. And I said, just imagine our roles were reversed. And he says, I don't know that I could do that. I says, you're right. You can't do that. It's impossible. It's like trying to say, what would you do if somebody stuck a gun in your head? You'll never know unless you know. And we think we know what we're going to do if somebody does a thing, but you don't. You only know when it happens. I says, so just if you can please just understand that I am doing my very best to do the most good with the least amount of harm. And I respect your opinion and your work and your science. And I think that what I offer is to be very vigilant and to, let's watch this thing and I'll check it. And if I see any change, I'll reach right out to you and we can talk. And I'll go forward and prepare myself, getting my dental stuff cleared. And if it turned out that everything went to shit and I had to go down that road, I've got that as a fallback. And he agreed. He said, listen, he said, I respect your opinion. He says, ultimately, this is your choice. He says, we're here to guide you and we're here to offer what we have to offer. And I will schedule the scan for 3 months and we'll review afterward. And I said,
well, I mean, that was a big progress, Joe. He scheduled a scan.
yes. So I have a scan scheduled for third week of October. And I even told him, I says, in this group that I've been in, it seems that 12 weeks was a normal time to set a scan after the treatment. And they did mine for 3 weeks after. And I says, it's possible this thing's still dying, and he agreed. He says, yeah, we won't know that. And, I said, I think we're on track and I'm going to do everything I can. So meanwhile, last week you gave me a call and we came up with some really good progress.
Hi, this is Joe Grumbine, and I wanted to share an update. The platform that hosts this podcast has made some changes to the subscriber settings, and we have a number of subscriber-only episodes that we offer to the supporters, and for a minimum of $3 a month, we can get you signed up. And if you're already signed up and you're having some kind of trouble locating these episodes in the other platforms, I would say maybe the best answer is to unsubscribe and then resubscribe. I'm sorry for the hassle. I don't have any way to make a change, but I'm very grateful for all the support. Thank you.
And well, I hope so. You're scheduled to see Dr. Song on Tuesday.
On Tuesday at 11 o'clock.
Right, yeah. And I got a little better news for you. I'll be around.
Oh, right. Excellent. Fantastic.
So, you come by the lab and we'll go out for dinner or lunch, whatever the time is.
Yeah, absolutely. That's fantastic. I will. And I talked to Emil. He said he might possibly be able to join too. He was
okay. All the better.
He said he had some appointments scheduled, but I don't know how long. I might be there for half an hour, might be there for 2 hours. It doesn't matter.
Anyway, I'll be on call.
All right, fantastic. I'm looking forward to seeing the lab. I'll have my wife with me.
Well, it's messy.
It's all right. I'm well aware of a messy lab. You should see where I manufacture some of my products. Sometimes I get so deep into a thing, and you're like, my wife's like, "What are you doing?" And I was like, well, I need a cleaner. But it's all right.
Okay. Well, that's great. Well, I think the goal with Dr. Song is give me some chemo.
Yeah, absolutely. Now,
you can let him decide the chemo.
Absolutely.
That's what he does. I want chemo. You tell me what you can do for me.
Exactly. And I don't know if you got it, but I sent you an email earlier in the week, and it was my whole medical record that I was able to download from the.
I think I didn't get it, but
okay. I'll send it again. But it's comprehensive from when I went into UCI, and I will be able to send that to him as well. And
that's the most important, to send it to him.
Exactly. So I sent it to you just to make sure it would send, and I will have it available to get to him as well, including the they said that they made the images available to me, but I haven't been able to access them. But I have this video that does show the images with the doctor explaining what they were. So hopefully that'll be helpful to him if I'm not able to access it right away. But either way, I'm looking forward to hearing what he has to say, his thoughts on the subject. Maybe he knows something we don't know. Maybe he's got a trick up his sleeve that goes outside
Well,
of.
he sure knows chemo.
Yeah,
And be prepared. He's not into all this smooth politeness.
it's okay. I can handle it.
Just it's nothing personal. That's
Yeah.
just him. Um, but he's 82 years old.
Wow.
He's been in the business more than 50 years.
Wow.
Um, he knows a lot, and I don't think he's guideline only guy. At least in the old days, he was treating people with very high doses. I don't know if that's allowed anymore or also, but
Got it.
he had that reputation.
Okay.
Anyway, what we want is we want to continue chemo. Chemo's done so well.
We want to
Why are
finish
we
the job.
stopping when
Yeah.
when there looks like there's still a bit of disease left?
Exactly. Yeah, we want to finish this thing off and then establish some sort of a maintenance.
Right, exactly. And that's the conversation with him.
Exactly. Exactly. So I hope he's open for me to share my story, but either way, I can hand him the records and he can learn from that. Whichever way works.
Yeah, and he asked me questions about the unlike your intern and his attending yesterday. Dr. Song asked me about the diet,
Nice.
so he's still curious.
Good, good. Well, I'll share everything with him.
Yeah, I think you can. I think he'll listen.
Okay, good, good. Well, this other guy, even when I said, I think my fasting and diet and oxygen therapy impacted the chemo a lot. And I just said it in a sort of off the cuff way. And he said, well, tell me about your diet. And I told him, low methionine. And I didn't say the methionase, but I just said, I've very much fruits and
You
vegetables.
tell people about the methionase. It's okay.
Yeah. Oh, I didn't not
You
tell him
say
for
it's
any reason.
a dietary supplement.
Yeah, yeah. But nonetheless, I did tell him about the low methionine, and he didn't look sideways at me. He seemed to recognize that. He didn't make any comment or anything, but they none of them have
He
said
probably heard of something sometime somewhere.
exactly.
It's ironic, Joe, that at the very UCI, they are planning a clinical trial of low methionine diet for cancer patients. But it
Wow.
seems like the people you see are just kind of walled off or something.
Exactly. Nobody knows anything about it, that's for sure. Well, I believe that the dramatic results that we've gotten that we're going to continue to get, and I'm all about visualizing and all the things, and so I see myself being clear, and I know that when that happens, and I'm going to be able to go in there and say, okay, come back with that MET-PET scan and say, look, look what we did, and they'll get the
Or
credit.
it may show that you still got something left. I think the MET-PET is really essential.
I do too. I do too. So that's what my thinking is. We're going to go the 3 months and hopefully have been
Hopefully,
able.
in those 3 months, you'll be getting chemo with Dr. Song. This is
Exactly.
my hope.
Yes, mine as well. And so
He may say, "Oh, I want to wait till the scan." Okay.
yeah, he may.
But you got your 3 weeks post chemo scan,
Right.
and there's something in there. We don't know what it is,
Exactly.
and so it seems to me
I'd hit it hard now.
get some
Yeah,
more therapy now, and that'll give us a better chance of the scan coming up in October to be negative.
I agree. That's my hope as well. I think
I think we need a little more. There's a very good probability that you got some lymph node tumor left. It's
Yeah.
shrunk. That's great.
Right.
Why we can't shrink it some more?
Exactly. And that's my goal, is to knock this thing out while while I'm still wobbly, just keep going. Let's just knock this thing through, and
Yeah.
I can recover when I'm done. It's all good. I'm keeping strong. I'm doing remarkably well through all of this. And I understand the doses, and the chemo I got was pretty aggressive. It wasn't a light, a little dose, and I did fine
A little
comparatively.
dose isn't going to help you.
No, I wasn't interested in that. I just want to beat this thing out and be done with it. So I'm excited. Now I'm curious. I know that the third session of this symposium is going to be coming up pretty soon. Have you heard it?
Okay, so it's going to be our time, 6:30 in the morning, and
What day?
they're allowing me to present.
Nice.
I got 10 minutes, and I sent my slides to the leader,
Okay.
woman, a very good woman, Dr. Shi, XI.
Right.
And I thought, I worried that she was just going to X me out of there, that, I shouldn't be presenting clinical data, da, da, da.
Right.
But what she said is just only present your published data.
Okay.
So I was very pleasantly surprised.
got lots of
I thought I was
that.
going to be censored.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's what I'm going to do.
Nice.
I've got I can't present your data.
Not yet.
It's not published yet.
Right.
I'm pretty
Not yet.
sure Dr. Asano has sent it to the journal, but it
Okay.
takes time.
Sure.
So unfortunately, I can't present your data, and I can't present Scott's.
Okay.
Neither of them are published yet.
But you have Shihiro.
Yeah, I still have good stuff.
Yes, yeah, absolutely. And that's fantastic. And in 10 minutes you can say a lot.
Well, I'm going to say, and and leave room for questions. And
Yeah. What day is the
okay,
symposium?
I'm going to. Oh, I don't know. I wish instead of me, it would be Dave and you and Chihiro.
Well, maybe they're going to do a fourth round, and we'll be able to.
Well, I'm going to tell everybody to please come and watch our Zoom, please.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I'm excited. What day is this thing happening?
The day you go see Dr. Song, but at an ungodly 6:30 in the morning, because it's 9:30 over there.
Nice. But we don't have access to see it.
I don't know. They're kind of paranoid.
Okay.
Over at the whole NIH, because all the arbitrary things that are happening.
Sure.
So they're very scared about communicating things they shouldn't. Somebody may not want them communicating. So they've only allowed about 5 of our group to get on.
Okay. Fair enough. Well, I think
you have to get approved and everything.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Maybe Dave, everybody is recording. Cindy, I don't know.
Yeah, Cindy got the last time she got those slides and was able to share them with.
Well, that nice lady sent her slides.
Oh, is that what happened? Okay.
Yeah, Dr. Gao, she sent a very sweet, very nice email too.
Nice.
And the time before, Dr. Kaiser sent his slides. Of course, all those people could present unpublished data.
Of course. Of course.
But that's okay. I'm just gonna keep my big mouth closed. I'm not gonna say anything about it.
Right.
Just be so grateful I could get on. That's
exactly. No, you're going about it the best possible way on the highest ground, and frankly, you're getting this opportunity to get this out there in a forum.
Yeah, and Joe, I'm not going to make any claims, because every study except one that I'm presenting has other therapies in it.
Right.
I just say these are the data. These are the results.
Yes.
These are what we got, and we're going to get a lot more of them.
Yes.
And I'm not going to say, oh, it was all because of methionase.
Right.
No way.
No.
People can make their own conclusion.
Exactly. And these are these are smart people that are attending this, and it's going to be
Yeah,
sure.
let's see. It's a giant step to have this symposium. It's an amazing step that they let me in on it.
Heck yeah.
So what the heck?
I love it. I love it. Well, I feel like we're starting to gain a little momentum. When we first started talking, it was what, March, something like that. And, I didn't know anything about your work. I didn't know anything about any of this. I was just trying to find answers. And we began this conversation. And I feel like we've come a long way. I feel
We've
like
come a long way, and you're living proof of it.
exactly, exactly. And you know what's great? I tell you, everywhere I go, anybody who sees me that saw me previously, it's not just that this thing's gone, it's that they say, "Wow, you just seem vibrant. You seem alive, you seem healthy." And I says, "Yeah, that's a big piece." I've talked to a lot of people that have survived cancer. You hear that term, survivor, right? That's a pretty weak word. I mean, it's a word that says I made it, I lived. It doesn't say anything else, right?
Weak and it's strong. It depends on how you look at it.
That's true.
When you
That's
think
true.
about a Holocaust survivor, wow.
Absolutely. Yeah, yeah. You're right. You're right.
And then a cancer survivor. I'm a cancer survivor too. I had a tumor in my ear. Who the
Okay.
heck cares? That's a
Right.
nothing. But when
Yeah.
you have a serious cancer like you,
Right.
being a survivor, it means a lot.
Exactly. It does. But I look at it this way. I go, surviving is like the baseline. Like that's the lowest possible acceptable
Yeah,
outcome
but
for
it
me.
makes everything possible.
It does. Exactly. Exactly. Without that, I couldn't thrive. I couldn't testify. I couldn't do all the things that we're going to be able to do.
Just be fertilizing the ground.
Exactly. Yeah. And I'm not ready for that one yet
Oh, no, no.
at all. I got a lot to do. So,
Yep.
anyways, I'm excited. I feel like, we're making progress on numerous fronts. And, part of this is obviously my first and foremost is stay alive and beat this thing. But quickly right behind it is, teach people and share. So last week we had a lady that I interviewed on my podcast. She came and joined the show or the call, and she was impressed. She said, "You guys were very gracious," and welcomed her. And she'll not be on this week, but she'll be attending in the future. And she has a lot of contacts up in Canada, and she works with a lot of physicians and practitioners, and she's learning as we're going. I have two other cancer patients that I've been working with, guiding and helping them. And I've invited them to the call as well. And I think within the next few weeks, I think one or both of them will be attending. And these are people that were
Yeah,
stage.
anytime. They're all welcome.
Yeah, and I just think that what's happening is this information is starting to reach out a little bit. It's like a lighthouse. I think we put a new bulb in, and it's shining a little brighter now.
Yeah, it's shining a lot brighter.
So I'm happy to be a part of that. It's exciting that maybe this these people in this group. I can't impress to the listeners how important connecting with the community is, and finding people that have shared experiences like this other group that I've joined with, all that have the same type.
That other group is so amazing.
Yes. And I'm just slowly putting myself into the conversations, but so far everybody's been welcoming, and it's a social media group, so we're not actually talking, but there's chats and things like that. And I'm going to probably in the next week or so mention this call, and I'll put the link up there. So maybe we'll get a bunch of people join. But it would be great to plug in this information, and I'm trying to do it gently, so it's not like somebody trying to sell their product, or how
No,
people
no,
come
no,
in
no.
and invade, and I don't want to do
No,
that.
we sure don't want to do that.
Yeah. So, anyways, I'm taking my time through that, and I'm excited. I'm looking forward to meeting you in person.
Me
Been
too.
instrumental in this journey, and I can't share my gratitude enough with all the work you've done and
Well,
willingness
thank you,
to.
Joe. And you're a great example
Well, I think together we're gonna continue to make changes and make this world
We already are.
exactly. All right, Robert. Well, we're gonna wrap up a little early, and
Okay, Joe, I'll see you Sunday on Zoom,
I look forward to it.
and see you Tuesday at the lab and dinner.
Exactly. I'm looking forward to both of those things. All right,
Okay,
Robert. We'll see you next time. And to all the
you
listeners,
bet. Thanks for having me on.
always a pleasure. We'll see you next time.
You bet.
This has been another episode of the Healthy Living Podcast. We produce this show so that people can share their stories, people that have overcome obstacles, people that are undergoing obstacles. We're building a community of health-minded individuals. If you're interested in supporting the show, please leave a review on the platform you're listening to it on. If you're interested in becoming a guest, please send an email to itsjoegrumbine@gmail.com, or you can send a note into the notes section of the podcast. All right. Well, thank you for supporting this show, and we hope you've enjoyed it.